Today, I'm gonna take my first ride on this EMX Ultimate limited edition dual 1000-watt motor e-bike and kind of get a feel for it. I'm probably not gonna record a lot of my ride just because I had an issue with my camera audio and I'm just using my cell phone for this video until my replacement parts come in. But I'm gonna be stopping along the way and kind of giving my initial feedback. So let's get started. So since my last video of putting this bad boy together, I have since put air in the tires. I put it up to about 28 psi, max is 30. I've charged both batteries. I didn't add any air to the suspension there, the mid shock there, just to see what kind of rebound. I am about 230. I'm 6'3". Now it looks very small online, this bike in and of itself. Every time I see photos or even videos of it, until you can see someone on it, even now in my camera, it looks like a small bike. It's not small, it's kind of small for me, but again, I'm 6'3". If you're about, 6 foot, maybe 5'11" and on down, this bike would be perfect for you. But once you start hitting the 6 foot, 6'1", you might want to go into a more full-size 26-inch frame like the Road Warrior. And because I'm tall, I will have to utilize the full extension of the seat post. And it is you probably can't see it, but it's a 30.4 millimeter post diameter. And this doesn't have the full suspension one. My Road Warrior does, just because it wasn't full suspension. So they included a suspension seat post. But you just get a regular seat post here. And maybe this is a little bit better with the different measurements there. And your 30.4 there. So I'm going to be riding this bike probably at near max height for my legs. I have a 32-inch inseam, and maybe in future videos I'll kind of give you an idea of what I look like on this bike. But I can already tell you it's a little small for me, but I do have the Road Warrior. This is actually for either my wife or my son to go ahead and use, and they both fit perfectly on this bike where they're able to get both feet on the ground. All right, did add the red shift pedals, and I'm about to just take this thing out and do a initial riding review on my own to see, one, to make sure it's put together correctly. There's no issues, no squeaking, no rubbing, no nothing that could be a problem, and just make sure that everything's working the way it's supposed to, and then maybe take it up to some higher gears and higher speeds and see exactly what this thing can really do. And I will bring you folks on the ride for my assessments as I go along. All right, so rode it about a mile and a half or so, and honestly, once I got on it, I just felt it was comfortable. That's exactly what I felt with the suspension. It just absorbed. It was like I was slowly going over bumps. It wasn't like the drastic boom, boom, with the rattling that follows. It was kind of like a slowly going over some bumps. It was absorbing it very well with the, of course, with the full suspension here and the RST guide front forks there. I'm gonna turn my camera around and just do it the other way. And I just kept it in pedal assist 3, and I have it set where I'm not getting 100% of the power right off the bat, so a little more tamed for now, and of course that can always be adjusted. But yeah, this suspension here looks like A5 or RE5. I'm not even sure what kind of suspension that is there, but then you get the front suspension also with the RST guide forks there. And honestly, I felt that right away. This seat, like I mentioned, doesn't have the suspension on it, but you don't need it. It's got this padding, this memory foam padding here, which is just very comfortable. and it comes standard. Like, this is a seat that people would eventually upgrade to if it didn't already come with it, but it's already on the bike, and it's the DDK brand here. Memory foam cushion seat there, and for your longer rides, and again, if there's bumpy or off-road commutes, this will be your best friend, to be honest with you. And overall, I mean, I took it up to pedal assist 3, so I have it set to where that's about 60% of the motor. I was riding a rear motor only. Then I ended up switching to both motors and tested out the throttle, and this thing definitely has some power. Definitely has some power. These tires are the street tires. They're not the knobby type, so I could definitely feel a difference in some of the traction. I'm just looking at this area here, making sure that these wires are a little close to the rear tires, you can see right there. So I just want to make sure that there's no rubbing going on with the tires or even the mag wheels, and that could cause heat, friction, and eventually could wear the sidewalls of the tire as well as the lining that the wires are in. We don't want to do that. So just kind of getting a gauge here, my first initial assessment. Awesome bike so far, and I'm not even being biased. Like, if there was an issue, if there was clanking, if there was noises, if something didn't feel right, I would say it here. This is where I would insert it, so that you, the viewer, who's maybe thinking of investing in a bike like this, can make a better educated decision. And that's something I hope you understand about me. All my videos are my honest reviews based on riding them, experiencing them, and I hope that I do a good enough job trying to articulate my experience. Now, I don't fit the majority category. I'm heavier, I'm taller, and so that, in my opinion, can be a good thing, because if I was shorter and very light, then you won't get that review of how the bike handles with a heavier load per se, you know, how it bears a heavier load. So overall, so far, first ride, I'm feeling great, feeling comfortable. I feel like I'm in control. Like, the bike size, it's not as small. Now, my knees don't, my feet, you know, legs don't fully extend on the down, and that's with the, I'm sure there's probably like an inch maybe, but I don't want to have it go too high, because I don't want the seat to pop out, you know, at 35, 40 miles per hour. But I'm going to continue this ride, and I'm going to stop at another checkpoint, and I'm going to try to take it up to pedal assist 5, and that's where I have it at 100%. And I'm going to do a single motor at pedal assist 5 top speed, and then I'll do the dual motor, and I'll record a video in the future, but for today I'm just doing an initial ride, kind of squeezing this video into my day. And it's a beautiful day today. I'm just hanging out here on the golf course, so decided to take the bike out, bring you along for the ride, so stay tuned. All right, so I did a ride, decided to open this bike up a little bit. And top speed, I hit on the single motor, it kind of topped out at about 34 miles per hour. And then when I switched to the dual motor without the lightning bolts, whatever that mode is called, it stopped at like 36. It literally capped at 36 miles per hour, no 0.4, 0.3 or anything like that. It was like, once it hit 36.0, it stopped. So I don't know if that's something in the settings that maybe I have to adjust. I did set the top speed up to the max, which I think was about 45 miles per hour. So I'm not sure. And then I did mention that when I talked to Lampro, when I got the bike, he mentioned that there is something he's going to be sending me that should be unlocking more power from the motors. So I look forward to seeing if that makes a difference. I'm actually going to record, you know, more of a top speed with my experience when I get my audio equipment fixed, and then I'll use my chest mount camera. But for now, I'm just testing it out, running it through the paces, seeing the top speed. I don't really have any hills around here that I can test as far as like how it functions on the hill, which is part of the reason why you would probably invest in a dual motor bike anyway. If you live in an area that has a lot of hills to climb, you'll need that front motor to help pull you up. But outside of that, like, as I've been riding this bike on a single motor, it's fine. There's plenty of power to go around, you know, for your normal commuting. You know, if you're not trying to keep up with traffic, and I hope you're not, but if you are, at least, you know, you'll be able to keep up with maybe residential traffic or outside of the main city traffic. But I'm going to take it around a little bit more and just kind of get more of a feel of it before I give my final thoughts. And now I'm gonna just go straight up here to the left. And I'm gonna keep it on single rear motor, and I'm gonna just see how it works riding here on the grass. And this is some pretty thick, like golf course grass. So I have it in pedal assist 3. I put it in 2. Oh yeah, this is definitely holding up. On a normal bike, you know, a regular mountain bike, no motor power or anything, you're definitely gonna struggle on this type of grass. This is a good test. All right, well, I've taken this bike through, like I mentioned, some of the paces and just did a few different top speed tests and tried the different variations with rear wheel only. I did do the lightning bolts, you know, the double full power one, and there is definitely a front wheel skid, you know, if you just try to gun it off the line, which is brings me to one of my points of who this bike is for. Now, as I mentioned in my initial part of this video, was height-wise, if you are around 5'11" and below, I'd say maybe down to 5'4", 5'3", or 5'4". At the lowest setting, you should be fine on this bike. You do want to make sure you're at a height that you can get both feet, even if it's your toes, on the ground, because with the dual motors, with the dual batteries, and also with the mag wheels, this is a very heavy bike. And so that's my next point, is if you're someone who maybe has limited mobility, maybe you've had knee replacement or hip replacement surgery, this may be a heavy bike for you to handle, and that's just something to consider, because you will be relying a lot on your leg strength, especially if you can't get both feet like flat on the floor. But it's also a wonderful bike, you know, for people just looking for something that has extra power if you need it. If you live in a residential area, if you live in like a small town, you'll be fine with this bike. You could probably take it anywhere. The weight was the concern, and also I wouldn't recommend this bike for someone who has never owned an electric bike before. And I say that respectfully, because this has a lot of power. It packs a punch, and I would hate for someone to leave a comment on my video, or any video really, and just mention how, you know, they saw the video, they loved it, they bought it, and then they got hurt. Because if you're not familiar with how electric bikes work, how the motor works, how the instant torque can work, because this is a torque sensor, it's not a cadence sensor, so it's not gonna let you pedal like a full revolution before the motor kicks in. This, as soon as it senses you're going, the motor is going. So if this is your first e-bike and you're going to invest in something like this, tone down the settings. I know there's a few videos out there on how to go to the advanced settings and lower the percentages on the different pedal assist amounts, as well as the throttle. You don't want the throttle to just give you 100% if you're not familiar. Someone like me, throttle's at 100% no matter where I'm at, just because I may just have to gun it. You know, I may have to merge, or I may have to cross a street, you know, or something, and need that instant power. So I love having the throttle just at the ready. But with that said, this bike will fit many categories, and it will check off a lot of boxes. I mean, you're getting a great quality product from a very reputable company, very knowledgeable people that work there. The owner, his name is Lampro. Always a shout out to him, because he's very knowledgeable. You know, and the competition has been growing, but the truth about Furious Ebikes is they've been keeping up, if not leading the way. You know, they've kind of been doing things to their bikes that now others are starting to catch up with or try on their own. But the trial period for Furious has already been done a few years ago, so now they've already revised and kind of trimmed the fat, and now they're just pumping out wonderful products. And I'm not being biased, I'm not saying that, I'm not getting paid to say that. Again, this is a bike that I would recommend to my friends and my family that are looking for a good quality product, because at the end of the day, it's your hard-earned money that you're trying to decide where to push it towards, right? And what to invest in. And I respect that. And you know, if you need an honest review, that's what you're going to get from me. So if there are other bike companies out there that wants their bikes reviewed, you can email me. I'll leave my email in the description, and you can reach out to me and we can try to organize something. I don't want to just do bike reviews. I don't want to get free bikes. And I'm being 100% honest. I don't have room in my garage and I've turned down a couple of companies that wanted to just send me a bike and just say here, and then they also kind of send you like a script, you know, like, hey, make sure you say these things and make sure it's kind of like, well, what if it's not a great product, you know? I mean, how am I gonna represent something that isn't quality? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I'm just saying, if there are other bike companies that wants an honest review from someone like me, I'm not a huge YouTube channel, I'm not getting hundreds of thousands of views, but that's fine. I'm still enjoying my life one video at a time. Go ahead and reach out to me, and that's fine. But with that being said, so I will end my video here by saying this overall is a very well crafted electric bike for sure. It sets itself apart in the realm of now with the dual motors and dual batteries, you know, full suspension, and then with the mag wheels, you're adding that element of rugged, you know, durability where it matters most, to the tires that are in contact with the ground. Quality of the suspension is amazing. Like I said, the bumps, I didn't really feel it. I went over a few bumps almost like curbs in a way. The speed is good. The battery output is great. Let's see, what else? The brakes are good. I'm still breaking them in. Everything's still pretty new. And, you know, the seat is great. As you saw in the unboxing, if you didn't watch it, go ahead and watch it right after this. You know, the padding, the shipping, everything's great. This color, I'm seeing it for the first time in the sun, and I don't know if this will do any justice, but there's got this, like, kind of like a specks in it, you know, that's just kind of shines and radiates with the sun shining, and it looks amazing. Like, it's not just a flat, like, you know, lime yellow color. There's got these I don't even know what the word is, but the little almost like glitter in there, and it's beautiful. I just noticed that now, so you're welcome. And yeah, again, like I mentioned before, you got the dual batteries. This is optional. You could take it out. You don't need it. If you don't need it, then that'll shave off some weight for you. Let's see. Yeah, would I buy it again? Of course. You know, this is a great company. Fabulous and Furious is the line. They're high performance line as well. This is the EMX Ultimate, so it is a 60 volt system. I like the full suspension, the linkage there, and you know, the controller being completely, you know, encapsulated in there, the potted controller. I think there's two controllers in there, both 25 amps each, one for each motor. And just the quality, I mean, that's the one thing that I always look for. The grips, you know, you have a half throttle here, the leather wrap grips there, you know, controls are pretty straightforward. You do have rear turn signals, you have a front headlight, rear tail light. I'm trying to find flaws is what I'm really trying to do. That's this little pauses in my video here. And I don't know, maybe the price point for some might be a little high, but then when you consider what you're getting, you really can't say that it's too expensive. It's just, you know, it really depends on your budget. But, you know, if you're gonna, I'd rather invest in one bike like this than two cheaper bikes, you know, one, and then you'll have to replace it in a couple years. This is a bike that you could put thousands of miles on, and you'll just have to change things like maybe the tires when they start to wear down, the brakes eventually, like any other bike. But there's no additional maintenance items. You're not really worried too much about the mechanics of it, because this has already been run through the paces. So overall, excellent bike. I'm glad I have this one. This is one that I'm not going to try to sell, but I'm going to keep this for sure, because it's definitely worth it. It's a bike to say yes. And you know, with the dual battery, you remove that range anxiety. So hit the like if you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions that I can try to answer in future videos, go ahead and leave it. If this is a bike you're considering, yeah, leave a comment. Explain why you're looking at this bike. Maybe you can comment on some other bikes that you might have looked into and what brought you back to this one. Or if this is your first time seeing this bike, leave an honest comment of what you think of it so far. Even the color. What do you guys think of this color? Let's just say 1 out of 5. Give it a 3, 4 out of 5. I like it. I'm saying 5 out of 5. It looks good. It's popping. It's got the black accent, but it's also safer. I mean, cars are going to see this color versus maybe a black even in the daylight. So anyway, thank you all for watching this video. This is Ryan from RydinNStyle.